America, the fun and games is over. Now, this is a really hard video for me to make. We've gone beyond now Trump this, MAGA that, Republican this, Biden that, left, right, Republican, Democrat, whatever. Shit's about to get real. You've seen my videos. I've been posting for a couple of months now. I, on the one hand, don't really want to be scaremongering. Sometimes people come on and they say, yes, we know. And then, of course, a lot of you come on and say, thank you so much for pointing these things out. If you live in America, I think you need to be worried. This is not a parody account. This is not, I'm trying to be serious here without being alarming. But we are now towards the end of April 2025. But the fact is, the big orange buffoon with the small hands, the tiny hands, your great leader, I don't think you understand what he has done to the economy, what is about to happen to the United States. With these tariffs, with China no longer sending a single ship to US ports. The last one, I believe, is due to be in the East Coast on the 11th of May. But after that, there will not be a single ship coming from China to the US with a single shoe, bag of wheat, iPhone, whatever it is you buy from China, clothing, and above all the components that companies in the US rely on. I'm hearing that dock workers are being laid off because there's no ships to unload and load. I'm hearing that truckers are being laid off because, well, there's nothing in the ports, so there's nothing to truck. I'm hearing that places like Las Vegas, which live off tourism, are now on the quiet, getting rid of staff, saying you'll let go because, frankly, there's no more tourists welcome to the US. But the most worrying videos I've seen, and I'm saying this simply as an awareness thing, that better that you hear it now and have the time to weigh up your options rather than hear it later and go, why didn't anyone tell me? Again, I'm not trying to be fear-mongering, but it's certainly better to have heard something and have time to evaluate and make your own decision rather than for something to come as a complete surprise. Basically, the talk is of shelves emptying, and that is some serious shit. We are talking potentially the US economy grinding to an absolute halt like has not been seen in at least 2 centuries by July 4th. We're talking people losing their jobs, people losing their homes, people not having food, and God knows what else. Now again, I'm trying to stay calm and not be alarmist in this video, but the things I've seen in the last few days, frankly, are alarming. At least I am concerned for the people in the US right now who perhaps are not aware of the potential for what is going to happen in May, June, and July of 2025. All I can say is do what you can, protect yourself the best way you can, and perhaps, maybe, just maybe, even if it's crazy, buy a little extra food, a little extra toilet paper, a little extra what you need. Because I remember during COVID here in Europe, the food gone from the shelves. You couldn't buy solar panels. You couldn't buy battery storage. You couldn't buy wind-up radios. It was difficult to get cash out of the machine. And thankfully, they weren't needed. And yes, some of us were a little bit crazy. But I believe there's an old saying, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Please stay safe. Thank you for following, and see you in the next video.
If you see China failing, it's around 13-14% of the world GDP, and it's around 15 to 20% of the world population. If that country falls, everyone on the planet falls, even America.
I promise I'm not trying to raise a ton of concern here, but what you're looking at right now in real time is the port of Shanghai. This is the busiest port in China, and all of the yellow that you're seeing, the arrows are moving cargo ships, and the yellow dots are the ones that are either anchored or docked for loading or because of the tariffs, waiting until they're getting the green light to go ahead and move on with their shipments. Now, let's compare this to what we are seeing in the United States. This is the port of Los Angeles. Again, this is in real time. You can go look on Vessel Tracker right now. Everything that's a cargo ship is docked and nothing is coming in and out. Now, keep in mind, China has come out and said because of the tariffs and the trade war that's happening right now, China has said they're stopping most, if not all, of their shipments to the United States for the time being. This is a little scary because this is supposed to be the busiest port in the entire Western Hemisphere, and there is nothing coming in and out right now.
So I think one of the biggest challenges that industries and economies are facing isn't so much the tariffs, which of course are a really terrible idea. It's the uncertainty of what happens on a day-to-day basis. What happened yesterday might be completely different to what happens today. And I think that's why the stock market is having such a bad time with this. The reason why so many projects have been put on hold is that industry doesn't know, what's going on. Is there going to be tariff? Is there not going to be tariff? Is it going to be 10%? Is it going to be 125%? And it seems to be changing on a day-to-day basis. And depending who you listen to from the Trump administration, you can sometimes get a different answer. If you listen to Trump, he'll say one thing. If you listen to Caroline Levitt, you'll get a different answer again. It's obviously there's no coalition here. It's obvious. What's also obvious is that there is obviously no plan. There's no structure in place. There's no, there's no strategy here. It's all done at a whim on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's what's more dangerous than anything else, because you can't plan for things like that. Donald Trump, for example, is saying that there's a big trade war right now with China, which is going to hurt the United States in a really bad way. He's obviously saying things like, China is talking to us, and China's picking up the phone. It's great. We're going to make a deal. It's going to be a deal and everything. And then we hear the truth from the Chinese saying, well, there has been no conversation, zero. And so I think the volatility of this administration is what is going to take the United States down. In a very real way, Trump trying to bring industry to his own country isn't a bad idea. In Canada, we're trying to do the same thing too, right? Inward investment expansion. But the way he's doing it is ridiculous. Folks, let me know what you think in the comments. This is just my own personal opinion. My name is Nick. I'd love you to give me a follow. Let me know what you think.
Hi everybody. Eggs. That seems to be the only thing Donald Trump wants to talk about. It's been a little bit of a contentious issue because egg prices have been very high in the United States due to a bird flu epidemic and also inflation. Well, you may recall a month or so ago there was a big push by Department of Agriculture to start to import eggs into the United States to bring prices down. And even though prices haven't really come down, there has been some success there. And the United States is now importing eggs from Brazil and Turkey and also South Korea. But there's a twist to the story. So Donald Trump has just placed a 10% tariff on eggs coming from Brazil, a 10% tariff on eggs coming from Turkey, and he's proposing a 26% egg tariff from South Korea. So this might be counterintuitive. I don't understand what the strategy here is. Folks, I love you. Give me a follow. My name is Nick. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. This source came from Global News. Hi folks, so I've been asked the question a few times in regards to eggs here in Canada, and do we have issues with egg supply? Is there a rarity of eggs? And the answer is quite simply no. In Canada there is a plentiful supply of eggs, and there's actually a reason for that. So there's three things that really contribute towards that. It's the way that the industry, the poultry industry, is allowed to operate in Canada. The first one being is that we have smaller egg farms. So on average, An egg farm in Canada is about 25,000 hens on average, and it doesn't really go too much past that. In the United States, you can literally have millions of hens in one poultry farm. The other thing is that we have the presence of a supply chain management system. So from quotas to the selling of eggs, it's all managed. So if there's any issues in the chain, it's managed straight away. And the other big one probably is geographical distribution of poultry farms. Is our poultry farms are not bunched together. There's vast distances between them. So we have had avian flu issues in the past, but because of these factors, it's usually nipped in the bud very quickly. Folks, the source for this is CBC News. My name is Nick. Feel free to give me a follow and let me know what you think in the comments.
And I went on groceries. It's a very simple word, groceries. Like almost, who uses the word? I started using the word, the groceries. Groceries. It sort of says a bag with different things in it. The word grocery, it's sort of simple word, but it sort of means like everything you eat.
Such a basic term, groceries. The groceries, they mean every single item of grocery.
So if you're a manufacturer in the United States and you rely on rare earth minerals, you're in serious trouble. Supply for rare earth minerals is between 40 to 60 days. This is according to industry. China stopped shipments of rare earth minerals to the United States on the 4th of April, and the vast majority of rare earth minerals that the United States needs comes from China. So 40 days from the April the 4th takes us up to May the 14th, okay, which isn't so far away. It takes, on average, for the supply of rare earth minerals, it takes 20 days to be shipped from China to the United States. So that's May the 17th, if it arrives, if it goes today, which is April the 27th, if some kind of agreement is made. So you guys are going to start running out of rare earth minerals on May the 14th. It's not going to get here to the United States until the 17th, even if an agreement is reached today. What do you do? Well, you could try and source it somewhere else, but there's limited supplies. You guys are in serious trouble. And it's because of the decisions of Donald Trump. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and you guys are going to start running out of rare earth minerals, and there's now nothing you can do about it.
Hi folks, it's absolutely true. Read this comment. If you go to Vessel Finder, the number of container ships on their way to the United States has dropped dramatically. They're not seeing it on the shelves yet, but some people are. I know there's stories of people not being able to get parts, filters. The price of foods is already starting to go up in the United States. So this is the way things are going to be from now on for a little while. The reference I gave the other day in regards to, can you remember what it was like during COVID time, and how hard it was to get some things? This is the way it's going to be from now on for the United States of America, and we're only just starting to see it right now. It's going to get a lot worse, and it all comes down to terrible economic decisions being made by Donald Trump in regards to tariffs, and also mistreating and bullying nations, and that's what it comes down to. Folks, my name is Nick. I'd love you to give me a follow. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hi folks, so Temu and Shein are raising prices on their products to accommodate the effects of Donald Trump's tariffs on their business. Some prices are going up 377%. That would be for American customers, but not Canadian customers. Folks, this source came from Bloomberg.
So the Atlantic magazine has had the opportunity to do an interview with President Trump. And they asked him a number of questions. One of the questions they asked him was this: what's different in this term of presidency from your first term of presidency? And Donald Trump has said these words: this time I run the country and I run the entire world. Folks, my name is Nick. I'd love you to give me a follow. Let me know what you think in the comments. The source is the Atlantic magazine. Well, unfortunately, it looks like the great US brain drain has begun. Donald Trump and his administration have attacked publicly education, colleges, universities are being threatened with funding reductions and so on. And it's also being stated that the Department of Education itself is under threat. So as a result of this, many people in the United States who are scientists, researchers, doctors, etc., professors, are now looking at the possibility of moving out of the United States, to the United States' detriment, I might add. So in regards to a poll, let's look at a poll here that came from Nature magazine. This is from last week. Of 690 postgraduate researchers that were polled, 548 of them were considering leaving the United States of America. We also know that the EU has opened up fast-track visas, specifically recruiting United States-based scientists and researchers. Canada has also opened the door fast-track visas for doctors and physicians, specifically coming from the United States. And Australia is also fast-tracking for researchers as well. Folks, the source of this comes from Politico and also Nature magazine. My name is Nick. I'd love you to give me a follow and let me know what you think about this in the comments. So folks, I think I just wanted to mention, that we are in some scary times right now due to the decisions that Donald Trump has made. And please do remember that there are literally hundreds of millions of Americans that have innocently been caught up in this nonsense. And if you are one of those Americans, I can only speak for myself, but much love, peace, and feel free to reach out at any time on DM if you want to. I'm here for you. I know that a lot of you are scared, We see this, we see the things, we hear the reports of the madness. And now we see the supply chain being broken too. So
as red states continue to fall into decline, as the country as a whole continues to follow in decline, you're going to be noticing some very interesting things. One of these being that the fundamental existence of how red states operate is about to be thrown into the gutter. Years of propaganda, years of gerrymandering, and Republican influence is about to come to a head with these, especially with the recent trade shortages that we know are coming. They are undeniable. There is no, oh, well, it's gonna get better eventually. No, it's not. It's not going to get better eventually. That is the thing you have to understand. This, what we are about to see, is going to be the new norm. Emptier shelves, less accessibility, and overall, you're about to see the actual bankruptcy of red states. And we all wonder, why do red states vote so much against the things that benefit them? And part of the reason for that is red states have never seen the actual benefits that Democrats push. And I know that can be very hard to believe in the sense of you have to take your perspective from someone who can see the correlation between policy and life. Don't get paid well. Even if they get paid above minimum wage, it's closer to $12 to $13 an hour to do very intense factory work. A lot of work in red states is factory work. And those factories historically underpay their employees and they don't give them benefits. However, these employees are told that because they make more than most people living in the area, that they're actually better off. Hence the ever-loving trend of, oh, you have to work hard to get to where you want to be, etc., etc. As we break down over the next few months, and as things really start to break down, you're going to see people, the undeniable truth of how much Republican policies hurt people. There is no lie there. They push their own agendas, and they push their gerrymandering because they want to retain their power. They lie to their constituents, they actively work against their best interest, and then come election time, they just lie. They lie over and over again. They take false numbers because they do what I call, it's like white lies, right? They aren't telling true lies, even though some of them do, because they have these false statistics. They have very biased statistics that they pull their rhetoric from. And that is how they're able to convince the masses. Oh, here is this stat block that even though it is completely flipped on its axis, and we all know it is very corrupt information, that is still a basis of information for them. So what happens in red states is that over the next few months, you're going to see things crash. You're going to see entire communities possibly even be wiped out due to the lack of a supply chain, because even though it's known to us that rural areas are very, very delicate because they rely on the overall supply chain to continue bringing goods. And sure, some of them may see a slight bump, but the people are never going to see it. The factories could see a bump because they're going to be encouraged to ship domestically more than internationally because of the demand, but that's never going to get back to the workers. And so you have the ever popular argument, of course, that white supremacists love to use, that, oh, well, we're poor and poor don't discriminate. And that is very true. Poor does not discriminate. They don't see white privilege as existing because white privilege in itself is so prevalent. And they're poor. We are poor. We're all poor. They can't see the struggles of a black person or an Asian person or Hispanic person, either due to their own ignorance or because they see us all as the same. They see everybody as poor. Oh, well, we all come from the same place. What should it matter? I got a job interview. I don't see why this guy can't get a job interview. They don't look into why that guy can't get a job interview because he has a black name or an African name. They don't get that because they don't get the benefits of democratic states. Why would a poor Southern white guy or woman give a crap about gay mental health when they don't even have access to basic health care in their small town? If you truly want to see change in the country, people on the left and in left areas are going to have to remember you're talking to people who have effectively been brainwashed, and not only have they been brainwashed, their environment is just as awful to boot. They're barely surviving. How can they care about the political effect? And yes, I know that politics affect everybody. It doesn't matter how poor or rich you are, politics affects everyone. It doesn't matter, but they can't see that. The important thing is going to be reminding these people so much that this was caused by Republicans. Donald Trump did this. When the shelves go empty, Donald Trump did this. Republicans in Congress did this. The next few years are going to be vital because we are going to have to hammer it into everywhere, into everything, that these problems are directly because of a Republican-led government.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.